Hey, it's just for Beulah County. Yeah, right on your head like a bounty. Said I'm from Beulah, they know I'm from Beulah, so let me just go talk about my surroundings. Shout out them Eagles that's out in Geneva, them Lakers, oh yeah, that's Palmetto Valley. We from the football chasing these goals. If you in the way, you get taken out proudly. And Jefferson soaring with Falcons. Said that you working, you ain't really working. You see that we working, our hands got a callus. Putting in reps till we moving some mountains. Edgewell got warriors, they won't allow it. Me, I bleed green and gold, they know defeating those dragons who run the whole city, you wildin'. And they really bout it, yeah. And next we gon' go to Grand Valley. Work like a horse and don't show no remorse. So opponents keep coming, we stack them and pile them, yeah. And kinda got flooded with Spartans. As soon as they pull up on game day, we park them. Cause we number one in that spot, ain't a bargain. Man, shout out St. John, they be ballin' like Harden. This for the football. This for the football. This for the football.
All right, everybody, what is going on? Before I get going too quickly, let me make sure we've got sound because I got a new microphone, as you can see right here in my face. So all right, we got sound, so we're good to go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Long time no see. Gone for a little while, but that's really because of baseball and softball. It is an absolutely grueling season. You figure football once or twice a week, basketball 3 times a week, baseball and softball, you're going 4 or 5 days a week. So really no time for shows, but definitely a lot of time for action. Got a chance this year to see some very, very talented teams. Some teams, in the county having a harder year than they would have liked, but some of the teams in the county kind of found their way and, winning sectional championships and winning some playoff games and really playing baseball and softball at a very, very high level. It's one of the main reasons I wanted to put on a show tonight because we got to recognize these kids. They went out there this year, put a lot of work in the off season, and the results are going to show here in just a minute. Right here on this show, we're going to have all the statistical leaders. I want to send a huge shout out to all of the coaches who took the time to make sure that I got all the stats that I needed so I could get everything going and get these, categories and figure out who our leaders in. And I'll tell you what, I think you guys are going to be very, very surprised at some of the people and just some of the numbers really that we had this year. It was really just an excellent year of baseball and softball. So, just kind of a quick overview of what we're going to do on tonight's show. I've got all of our baseball and our softball leaders. We're going to go to the standings page right here on ysnlive.com. I'm going to show you kind of where those set in. We've got some teams right here from the YSN family that are going to be heading down to Dayton to play in the state championship games, some of these softball teams. So, big shout out to them. Canfield and softball or Canfield and South Range are the two that come to my mind right now. So good luck to those young ladies. We've got South Range. I haven't seen the finals. We may find it out right here live on the show tonight about who won that game as well. But, without any further ado, let me go ahead and make sure the comments section is up. Don't want to, and again, if you guys, let me hear, I would love to hear about some of the moments from this year that you guys saw. What are some of the moments that are going to stick out to you for the fans, for the players, for the family members that went out there and, dealt with the rain and the rain outs and that sort of thing. At the beginning of this year, I actually got a head start on it because YSN, we traveled down to Myrtle Beach and I got a chance to actually follow the St. John Herald's team down there as they started off the year rough, taking 3 losses very early down there against some very good teams, including the South Range Raiders who are playing tonight, but really found their way, came back to Ohio and rattled off 14 straight, before finally falling to a very, very talented Hillsdale team, in the regional or the sectional finals. District final. There's so many rounds. And, I guess let me jump on this too, before we get into the stats. I'm going to give you kind of one of my gripes about, OHSAA and how they're doing things. I think that they do a lot of things very, very well. I think they do a great job of, keep making sure competitive balance is there in most cases, making sure that these playoff games happen, making sure the seeding and everything going. But if I could change one thing from this OHSAA tournament, I was speaking to some parents throughout this tournament time. Once you get into those district and regional games, some of these games start at 2:00, which makes absolutely no sense to me. 2:00, mind you, you got to take into account, not only are these student athletes, you got to take into account what time of year it is. We are in the last week of May. Most kids are graduating, but the kids who are coming back next year, they're getting ready for finals, or even worse, they're taking finals, and pulling these kids out of school for a 2:00 game, with a 90-minute, almost 2-hour drive for some of these kids. To me, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but they're the ones putting together. As my good friend DJ says, it's their birthday party. They get to make the rules. So let's jump into the stats right now. And we're going to start off with the baseball stats, and it's going to be the leaders. And the way this worked is we got all the stats from all the teams. We put as many as we possibly could because of what we had into a spreadsheet. We figured out who the top dogs were in each category. And, depending on what the separation was from the last on the last one, that's how the list was made up. So without further ado, let's start it off right now. We're going to talk about the 2024 hit leaders on the baseball side. And this year's hit crown is going to go none other than Logan Cray. This isn't a huge surprise to me. Anybody who's followed baseball in this area, I think Logan Cray is a name he's a very, very good baseball player, has been for all 4 years that he's been over at Edgewood. So he's going to end the year with 28. He's going to be tied with Pymatuning Valley's Ryan Croston, who will be coming back again next year. Another very, very talented athlete, really. If it's a PV sport, you're going to hear Ryan Croston's name, whether it's the baseball field, the basketball court, or definitely on the football field. And I'll be honest with you guys, baseball and softball was fun. It was a great season. I enjoyed it thoroughly, but I'm already ready for football, and we'll get back into that here in just a little bit. Coming up right behind him, it's going to be Will Anderson, who's going to have 27 hits. He's going to be tied with Aiden Hernandez out of Edgewood. Ezra Campbell coming in after Hernandez with 26 hits. Alex DeSalvatore from Lakeside with 25 hits. DeSalvatore also their number one pitcher this year. Tony Hall, the man behind the plate for Edgewood, 25 hits for him. This is one, ladies and gentlemen, if you are watching from the Andover area, from the PV area, I know that there's a ton of fans out there. I know that there's a ton of diehards out there. Andrew, I believe it is Wildiga. But if you guys could put in the chat the phonetic pronunciation of that one, that's going to help me a lot, because we're going to say that young man's name a lot tonight as I put these lists together. He has 25 hits to end the year, and it's going to be Alex Sperduto from Edgewood rounding out the next list. So we're going to go from the hit leaders over to the average, and there was a minimum at bat that was required here for the average. And that's why some of these, maybe you had a higher average, but if you only got, say, 7 or 8 at bats on the year, we're not going to really count you. And that's not something that just I do. That's any list you ever see. There's a minimum of what you're going to need to qualify. But these are the guys in the county who, when they got to the plate, were a surefire hit. And we're going to start off at the top here with St. John's Ezra Campbell with an average of 441. Right behind him with 431 as his average is going to be Ryan Croston. It's going to be Andrew Wildiga. I'm going to struggle through this one. I need some help from you guys. If you're watching, get it in the comments. Give me the phonetic pronunciation on this one. Coming up behind him is going to be Logan Cray. Logan Cray ending the year with a 418 average. It's going to be the big lefty, Big Al, over at Lakeside with 417 is what he's going to end with. Will Anderson, who was a staple, a cornerstone for the St. John Heralds this year with a 409 average. Right behind him, it's going to be a new face for St. John baseball this year. It's the freshman, Brady Cole, 404 average. It's going to be Aiden Hernandez, a senior over there at Edgewood, with a 403 average. Behind him is going to be Tony Hall. 397 is what he ends the year with. At one point this year, Tony Hall, the CVC player of the week, I believe it was, holding on to a 500 average. Tony Hall was very, very good at the plate and behind the plate this year for the Edgewood Warriors. Alex Sperduto is going to round out the list in this one as well with a 393 average. Moving right along, we're going to go to the long ball hitters. And this is a short list, folks, because this is all the home runs that were hit in the county this year. Alex Sperduto is going to lead the pack with 2. Behind him, he's going to tied with 1 is going to be PV's Ryan Croston, PV's Drake Haynes, and Jefferson's Luke Lambert, all with 1 apiece. This is going to be a stark contrast to the softball list, which we're going to get to here in just a little bit, where those young ladies are hitting the skins off the ball. Tons and tons of home runs in softball this year. We're going to move over to the RBIs. These are the guys who were scoring runs for their team. And it's Ryan Croston leading the pack from PV. He's got 28. Ezra Campbell coming in second place with 25. Drake Haynes from PV, he's going to come in third with 24. Andrew Waludiga, we're going to go with that one. I'm going to say it every different way until I figure out the right one. He's coming in there with 20. Will Anderson had 19 RBIs to end the year. Right behind him from St. John as well is going to be Ryan Williams with 17. Alex Sperduto is going to be on there with 17. Brady Cole, the freshman at St. John, coming in with 16. It's the senior Logan Cray from Edgewood with 16. Tony Hall, another senior from Edgewood, he's got 16. And it's going to be Tate Hudson over at Jefferson with 16 RBIs this year. Moving on to the strikeout leaders, and this one was a pretty surprising list when you look top to bottom, just from the difference between the top and the bottom. The top guy this year on the mound was Grand Valley's Peyton Plisga. 86 strikeouts for that young man, and you're going to see his name again when we go to the next list for ERA as well. He was really, really getting it done for the Mustangs this year. 86 strikeouts, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is a Grand Valley career record already. And this young man has already gotten it in just 1 year. He'll be back again for the Mustangs next year, getting it done on the mound. Right behind him, it's the cornerstone. It's Will Anderson. 70 strikeouts for that young man. Bryce Sperlin over at Conneaut, he ends the year with 60. Eric Ellsworth over at Grand Valley, 58 strikeouts. Lakeside's Alex DeSalvatore, he's going to end the year with 57. And this is where the jump happened. And this is what surprised me. We jump all the way from 57 down to 37, which is going to be Ryan Williams from St. John. Aaron Wychalk, he's going to end the year with 36. And this is a kid who is really, really fun to watch this year. Throws a lot of smoke, a very, very fast fastball. Fun kid to watch. I'm excited to see where this team is going to go next year as they end the year 17-6 this year before falling to Hillsdale in the district championship. Behind him is going to be J.R. Hutchinson for Conneaut with 36 strikeouts. Logan Cray, 34 strikeouts for the Warriors. It's Justin Hagan for the Mustangs. He's got 29. It's Andrew Waludiga. He's going to go with 27 strikeouts this year. And another youngster on the list, the freshman over at Jefferson, Toby Dixon with 26. This is a kid that I think you need to pay attention to. He's a very talented young man, throws the ball very, very hard. Took on a starter role. He was one of those guys that Coach Barber over at Jefferson, I think, kind of leaned into. Luke Lambert obviously was their number one guy this year, but Dixon had to come in and take it on when they needed Lambert in the field, when they were messing around with the lineups, and Dixon really took on that role. And every time I got a chance to watch this kid pitch this year, he was outstanding. So can't wait to see him next year as well. And we're going to go with ERA. And this is what I was talking about. You see, it's Justin Hagan leading the top, and he makes it, with the minimum appearances there. with a .85 ERA. But Plizga, who was their number one pitcher over in Grand Valley, is going to lead the pack. I guess with the most starts is what we'll call it. Is going to lead the pack. Just want to make sure that sound. I'll tell you what, I'm always freaked out that the sound isn't working. Peyton Plizga, who was Grand Valley's number one pitching guy this year. He was their number one arm, 151 ERA, and that makes sense with all the strikeouts that young man ended the year with. He was an absolute force to be reckoned with. And right behind him, it's going to be Eric Ellsworth from Grand Valley as well, 1.9 ERA. Going over Wadiga. Thank you, Chrissy Wade. You are the show's MVP. Wadiga is how we pronounce that name. As I've struggled throughout this whole show, you are coming in the clutch right now. This show's MVP, let me bring that on the screen here, is Chrissy Wade Wadiga. That's how you say it, and now I'll never forget it. Thanks again, Chrissy Wade. St. John's number one arm this year, Will Anderson, 2.13 ERA, with Ryan Williams, his teammate, equaling that with a 2.13. These two young guys are both juniors, so they're going to be coming back for the St. John Heralds next year. This is a team that they're losing some seniors that provided some quality innings and some quality at-bats this year, including Bryce Vanetti and A.J. Hensley, but they've got a lot of their core coming back. It's a team I think if you didn't pay attention to this year, you really should next year. They, went through the county, and I believe they didn't lose a single county game this year. So it was a big-time year for the St. John Heralds. Coming up next, it's going to be Alex DeSalvatore. He ends the year with an ERA of 2.35. Alex DeSalvatore, definitely the number one pitcher over there at Lakeside. The big lefty, throws hard, puts it where he needs to put it. Doesn't allow too many hits. When he's on the mound, you're going to have a long day. It's Ryan Croston from PV, 2.49 with the ERA. Andrew Wadiga is coming up next. 2.83 is his ERA. And then Bryce Sperlin, 3.91 from Conneaut. Riley Baldwin, the Slim Reaper is what they call that young man. He's another young core on that Edgewood team. Another kid that you could talk about. He's just an athlete. You're going to see him making a difference on the football field, on the basketball court, and obviously on the baseball diamond as well. ERA just 4.2 for that young man. I'm sure that the Warriors are going to be leaning heavily into him next year as they're losing some big-time players in this senior class, including Logan Cray, Tony Hall, and Aiden Hernandez, who really, he wins the MVP for the Warriors this year because he stepped up and was a standard on that team this year, and I think they needed that. And then it's going to be Toby Dixon, so the youngster over at Jefferson, rounding out the list here with 4.38 as his ERA. Very impressive kid to watch. I'm telling you, I'm really looking forward to checking this kid out for the next couple of years. I think he's going to be somebody that we're going to be talking about over there in that Jefferson program. A very, very, very good pitcher. So those are going to be your leaders. Let me get this out of here real quick. So those are going to be your leaders for the baseball season for the YSN Ashtabula teams. This is the point in the show where as I was saying before, I understand that not all the Ashtabula County teams are on this list. They're not all on YSN. It's something that I have hoped and crossed my fingers that is going to change. I still have hope that it will change sooner than later. Obviously, Geneva, those athletes weren't on the list because we simply didn't cover them. They still aren't part of the YSN family. That's something that needs to change. I'm going to be honest with you. Geneva had a very, very good year. They had a very, very talented group of kids. The Arkenberg boys are some of the best baseball players that you're ever going to see. They went out there, got it done day in, day out, day in, day out. Coach Terry Hayduck has gotten a great showing from these boys, from what he's doing out there in Geneva. Geneva is a very, very good baseball team. They have been for the last couple years. They will be for the years to come. I'm hoping that one day that is going to change. We can start talking about those kids in much more detail and highlighting and giving those kids the promotion that they deserve. The issue there is I can't change that. There's some, the powers that be, that it's a simple agreement here. It's a simple agreement that you sign up with YSN. When you sign the dotted line, we're there and we're ready. And I can't wait till that day comes. But I did want to go ahead and get that out there because, there's some kids out there in Geneva that worked their butts off this year and really, really played well and were a show. And I got a chance to watch them play a couple times this year. And man, was it fun to watch them. But man, would it be even better if we could promote them and get them on the network with the rest of the teams in this county. That way we can give every kid the promotion and the excitement and make them feel like the stars that they are. That's all I'm going to spend on that time. Moving on, we're going to go over into softball. Softball has some crazy stats this year. Not just home runs, strikeouts are through the roof. It was really, really fun. I got a chance to call more softball games this year than ever before. Obviously my daughter plays for St. John, so I got a chance to cover a ton of those, which is a dream come true. I get to do what I love and cover the people that I love. That's something that, not too many people get that gift. And I'm very, very thankful for that gift. But that doesn't mean that I exclusively covered them. I covered everybody as to the best of my ability. One person, a very, very small crew. And when I tell you it's a very small crew, during football, we typically have in this area 4 to 5 announcers. So we're bouncing everybody around. Every game is getting covered. During basketball, that number drops down to about 4, maybe 3. When by the time we got to baseball, it was just me and Larry. And Larry Jennings is, he deserves a huge shout out as well. Larry Jennings has joined the team and really kind of leaned into his role and what he's doing for Edgewood, and has covered everything that you possibly can cover. If the Warriors are there, Larry has been there. And it's something he got a token of appreciation from the school. Talking about, his hard work and thanking him for all the hours that gets put into covering these games because, Larry, just like I do, he's got a day job and he goes and he works all day and then he goes out and he provides coverage and promotion and broadcasts for these young kids over there at Edgewood. And he did a fantastic job this year. So big shout out to Larry Jennings for, being on the team and just doing everything that you do and doing it at the level that he did it this year. He provides a level of excitement, and I think it could really be seen and heard on his broadcasts. And that's what this whole thing is for. That's the whole reason we're doing this. We want you guys to be able to always go back and find that one moment that you might have had that season. You may have had numerous moments, but you're always going to be able to find them right here on YSN. It's here forever. And that's one of the things that Larry embraced when he got in and provided a ton of coverage and emphasis and, enthusiasm, and Edgewood really getting to reap the benefits of that this year. So well done, Larry. Thank you for everything. And I can't wait to as this summer progresses and we get into football, wait till you hear him next year. All right, time to get into the softball. All right, so we move from ERA and baseball. We're going to go right into hits for softball. So your hit leaders this year, and as I said, these numbers are going to be higher because truth be told, the girls in this county played their butts off when it came to softball. And no other team should lead the list other than this PV Lakers. And that's McKenna Jordan, starting it off with 38 hits. Right behind her is going to be Allison Clark with 36 hits. The Lakers won 20 games this year as a softball team. They were on fire. Very, very fun to watch and dominant. When they were on the diamond, it was a good day for them and a tough day for the team they were going against. Right behind Clark is going to be Abby Eland with 35 hits. It's Natalie Ionetta over at Edgewood with 33 hits. And I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the Edgewood year this year as well. They went out there, won a lot of softball games. They've got a young woman by the name of Lucy Paulillo, who has really embraced the role of being that team leader and showing up and getting the job done. And the players really were it was a top-notch team, a top-level team to watch. And it didn't matter who they were going against. Edgewood was always in the game, always ready to play. I believe this year they win a share of the CVC. I want to send a huge shout out to Coach Randy Venzel. Randy Venzel has done with this softball team exactly what he's done with the basketball team, and he got girls to buy in and they play to the best of their abilities, and they're never out of the game. And he's one of the, we have a lot of great coaches out here that I look up to, and Randy Venzel is one of the top ones on that list. Year in, year out, he goes out and gets these girls to play and makes a difference. He's another one I look up to. He's a father of an athlete, finding time to get this done. And it's just very, very cool to see guys who are of that cloth and who are putting in that much work, find the success that they so epically deserve. Moving right along, we're going to go to Sage Payne over in PV. Sage Payne with 33 hits. Not only was she getting it done at the plate, she was getting it done in the circle as well. Sage Payne was a lights out pitcher for the PV Lakers this year. She was absolutely phenomenal to watch. I cannot wait to see where that young lady ends up in college. I know that was up in the air. I do know that she found a team. Initially, she was going to go to Notre Dame, and then, of course, Notre Dame closing its doors. But, Sage Payne is not going to be a victim of that. She's far, far too talented. I know she's been scooped up already, so congratulations to her on a phenomenal career. Grand Valley's Carly Cunningham, 33 hits. It's Allison Hill from Jefferson with 31 hits, who proved to be an absolute monster at the plate. And these are some of the names that you are going to see at the YSN All-Star Game. That is tentatively going to be played. Actually, I'm not even going to put the date out there. It's coming up soon. I don't want to put the cart before the horse here. But these are some of the names I promise you that you're seeing tonight. You're going to get to see them one more time on the diamond for the YSN All-Star Game. Lucy Palillo, 29 hits for that young lady from Edgewood. It's McKenna Venzel, another staple of that Warriors program. 28 hits for that young lady, right behind her sister, Avery Venzel, with 26. Going back to Jefferson, it's Marilia Matuz with 26, and Addie Lamson with 25 hits from Edgewood. With the hits, we're going to move on to the average. Who's got the best average at the plate? None other than McKenna Jordan from PV. She's got a 585 average. That's what she's going to end the year with. Right behind her is going to be Grand Valley's Abby Eland with 555. And then we're going to move on to Riley Frazier from St. John High School. Riley Frazier ends the year with a 524 average. Riley Frazier is part of a very, very young core. Very young core on this St. John team. She is just a freshman, but she has played more softball than most of the young ladies she's going to go against. She did a phenomenal job behind the plate for the Heralds this year. She's a young lady that understood while there were some upperclassmen that were going to take on a leadership role, she let her leadership come from her play. And when she was at the plate, she got it done. 524 is her average. So over half of the time when she was at the plate, she was finding a hit. Carly Cunningham from Grand Valley, 523 for that Mustang. It's Sage Payne coming right back into it from PV here. 485 she ends the year with. Allison Clark from PV, 468. It's Izzy Holler. Izzy Holler, just a sophomore. For that St. John team. Another one that's going to be making moves and making noise right here in the county. Ends the year with a 459 average. Marilia Matuz from Jefferson, 448. Alyssa Severa, one of two seniors to be exact, on that St. John team. 444 average for her. It's Riley DiMattia with a 440 average from the Jefferson Falcons. And Isabella Stern, 439, her first year back on the softball diamond, and she really made a difference for that Heralds team. Shout out to that young lady, as she was a for sure bat most of the time up there as well. Took a couple years off of softball, came right back in. It's like riding a bike. She picked up right where she left off. And this was the one I was talking about earlier in the show, the home run leaders, where we had four names, four names on the baseball side. As you can see for the softball side, a lot more than four. And your home run leaders this year, it's a tie for the top but luckily it's right at the same school. The Lakers, 20 wins, getting it done. Sage Payne and Natalie Haynes, 4 bombs apiece for those young ladies. Right behind her, it's Conneaut's Maddie Drew. Maddie Drew hits 3 home runs for the Spartans this year. I know Coach Zappatelli's super excited about this young lady. She's just a freshman coming out there. She's going to be playing for the Spartans for the next couple of years, and she just knocks the stitches out of the ball. It's going to be a senior from Lakeside on this list as well, Rosario Briones, with 2 home runs for her, and Kennedy Rogers from Jefferson with 2 home runs as well. Emily Money is going to have 1 home run. Isabel Holler also getting herself a dinger. Faith Venzel from Edgewood, she got 1. Allison Clark from PV got 1. Mackenzie Cribbs, another PV Laker, with 1. Tessa Graves, guess what? Another PV Laker with another home run. It's Autumn Hostetler from Grand Valley. She's got 1. Marilia Matuz from Jefferson. She's got 1. Mia Contenza with 1. And Riley DiMattia with 1. Both of those young ladies, Jefferson Falcons. That's a team that's very, very talented as well. That season didn't end the way that they wanted to, but I can tell you right now, when it comes to the offensive side of the ball, Jefferson is going to be a force. They have got some young ladies that can absolutely hit the ball wherever they want to, over the fence, find the gap. They can score with the best of them. All right, and from the home runs, we're going to go over to the RBI leaders. It's going to be Sage Payne from PV leading the pack this year with 41 RBIs to end the year. Congratulations to that young lady. Natalie Haynes right behind her with 31. Autumn Hostetler from Grand Valley, she's got 26 of them. Allison Hill from Jefferson leading all Falcons in RBIs with 26. Maddie Drew from Conneaut with 25. No surprise there with 3 home runs that she's got 25 RBIs. It's Carly Cunningham from Grand Valley with 25. Riley DiMattia, she's got 23 of them. Lucy Palillo, 22 RBIs. Addie Lamson, 22 RBIs, both of those Edgewood Warriors. And Kennedy Rogers from Jefferson with 22 RBIs. Kennedy Rogers also with a couple home runs this year, helping that stat right along. Now it's time to move from behind the plate to in the circle. And your strikeout leaders, these numbers, oh my gosh, folks. Can you look at these numbers? Outstanding numbers. When you talk about the top strikeout pitchers in the county this year, it's going to be Lucy Palillo with 185 strikeouts. And I don't have her number. Actually, I do have her numbers right in front of me. So let me take a look, because her walks, 185 strikeouts, just 37 walks for that young lady. She got it done all year long for the Edgewood Warriors. Congratulations, Lucy. Right behind her, it's another power pitcher in Sage Payne with 139 strikeouts. And her walk total, as I move over here, just 32 walks for Sage Payne. These are 2 of the best pitchers in the county, and I don't think there's any ifs, ands, or buts about it. These 2 young ladies, if they get in the circle, you're going to have a tough day. They made sure of it. You're going to see them on the ERA list coming up next as well. Rounding it out in third is going to be Izzy Holler, the youngster for St. John. 90 strikeouts for that young lady, and she had to take on that number 1 pitcher role for the St. John Heralds this year, and she embraced it and did it very, very well. Conneaut's Lexi Brown with 65. Jefferson's Olivia Lewis, 52 strikeouts for her. Lakeside's Jules Lavender with 35 strikeouts. It's Ada Sarine from Jefferson. She's got 33. Alyssa Severa, who played the number 2 pitcher role this year for St. John, with 31. And Mackenzie Cribbs from PV with 25 strikeouts. Those are your leaders. And just so you guys know, I will be releasing all of these graphics over on Instagram after the show is over. And our final stat line of the night, it's going to be ERA. And we saw how high Sage Payne was on the strikeout list, number 2 spot. Her and Lucy are going to flip when it comes to ERA, and it's only 0.03 that is separating them. Sage Payne going to finish the year with 202 as her earned run average. Lucy Paolillo with 205. Again, when I tell you these girls are the best pitchers in the county, this is the numbers don't lie. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. Mackenzie Cribbs, she's coming in third with an ERA of 2.18. It's Alyssa Severa with an ERA of 2.95. Izzy Holler behind her, 4.58. Ada Sarine, 4.96. Followed by Lexi Brown with a 6.65 ERA from Conneaut. Olivia Lewis from Jefferson, she's got an 8.42 ERA. McKenna Venzel from Edgewood, she's going to go 8.53. And Emily Money from Lakeside, she's going to go 8.71. Those are your leaders this year, folks. Again, like I said, it was a fun year. It was a busy year. We had a lot going on, a lot of rainouts, which resulted in double headers and, things moving around day in, day out, trying to figure out where you're going, when you're playing, who you're playing. Shout out to all the athletic directors in the county this year, for working so hard and diligently to make sure that these games got played because, baseball and softball, it's a spring sport, but you know that in Ohio, spring really doesn't even really start until about 2 days before summer. So, the first couple of days of spring are going to be cold, rainy, snow. We've gotten a couple nice days here in the last couple weeks. And of course, we're already into the tournament for both baseball and softball. But it was really, really a fun season to get going. And, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed calling it. I enjoyed promoting these kids. Hopefully you guys felt like the superstars you are. Some big time plays from this year. Got to cover a lot of St. John. Emma Hutchins is one that stands out, a diving catch in center field that really, blew my mind as I saw that because it was a ball it didn't look like she was going to get to. We saw some big time moments for seniors. AJ Hensley, they're in a knockdown, drag out fight. St. John and Geneva, it's the two top dogs, man, meeting right up there. Hensley, who's a guy who is a bunter typically for this team. He's a guy they're just trying to get on base because his wheels are where he's a threat. Goes out there against one of the best pitchers in the county, bottom of the 7th, knocks in a run, wins the game. It's some of these things that, you get a chance to watch and it's really fun. And again, if you ever want to go back and check them out, all the games are right here on YSN Live. You can pick up from the archive, go to the school you want. They'll have the games on there. I want to talk about this weekend. We've got a great event coming up. 3rd year in a row, we're getting to cover this. Shout out to Christian Moreno. He is a boxing enthusiast. And why wouldn't you be a boxing enthusiast when your son, Azari Moreno, one of the best boxers at his age in his weight class in the country? We're going to the Rise of the Gladiators again. It's the 3rd year in a row, Rise of the Gladiators. The doors are going to open at 3:00. There'll be tickets at the door. Make sure you get there. The rings or the fights are going to start right at 4:00. I'm really, really excited about this one. Let me see if I can do this real quick. Yeah, that'll work. I'll just move over this way. So really, really excited about this one. I'm going to be joined by Elvis Torres, who is my cousin, also was on the boxing circuit himself. He knows a lot about boxing. He's going to provide most of the play-by-play. I'm just going to be color. It's going to be all excitement and that sort of thing for me, which is my favorite thing to do. But we're going to have, tons and tons of fights from the age brackets of little kids all the way to adults. We've had world champions have brought their sons into last year's tournament. Moreno really does a phenomenal job. Christian does a phenomenal job. Moreno Promotions, they do a great job with this one. The belts and everything is top notch. It's going to be this weekend, 2259 West Avenue, right here in Ashtabula, Ohio. Make sure you guys come out, check it out. It's going to be a great event. I'll be there. And if you can't make it, If you can't make it, I understand. Although you should try to make it because it's going to be a fun event to watch. It's going to be right here on YSN Live. You're going to be able to catch it live right here. So before we go, let's go into the standings and find out where these young people ended up. All right, so we'll go standings. And I'll make this the main screen. I did that wrong, of course. Over here in the CVC Lake, your standings, Madison is going to win the championship this year. They go 9-1 in their conference, 16-7 overall. Edgewood ends up with a 10-12 conference record, or a 10-12 overall record, 4-6 in the conference. Lakeside behind them, 4-6, tied with Edgewood. 4-6, tied with Lakeside and Edgewood is Jefferson as well. Conneaut rounding it out with a 1-9 record. Now we move over here to the softball side of things, and it's going to be Edgewood and Madison splitting the title this year. 9-3 is going to be their conference records. Look at the numbers here. 19-7, Perry getting it done. 15-4 for the Edgewood Warriors. Moving right along, it's going to be Jefferson behind them, 8-4 conference, 9-9 overall. Conneaut goes 2-10 this year with or 2-10 in the conference with a 5-14 overall record. Lakeside had a tough year in the conference, going 0-12 with a 1-19 record on the year. And we will move over here to the NAC. So it's on the baseball side, it's Maplewood who's going to win the Stars division. But PV is going to come in second there. 7-6 conference record, 11-9 overall as we move over here. On the softball side, PV is going to come in second to Matthews and going 12-2 here. And it looks like those 2 extra games that they played made the difference. Moving over to the Stripes division, it's Ashtabula St. John who's going to go on top here. 9-1 in the conference. They're going to win their conference title this year. Congratulations to them. Over on the softball side of things, they're going to finish with a 4-4 conference record, 7-8 overall, 7-7 regular season records. So congratulations to all those young men and women on a fantastic season. It was a great season. I really enjoyed it. Looking forward to seeing what's going to happen this summer. We've got the combine coming up. Look for that. About July 27th is tentatively where it's at. We'll be having it right back at Lakeside this year on July 27th. Going to be some fun stuff going. YSN actually has some big time announcements that are coming out where there are going to be some opportunities for athletes unlike you've ever had before. I'm very, very excited to not only be part of it, but be one of the ones who's going to be able to help promote it. So that's what we got here for this show, folks. I'm really, it was time to get back. I missed doing the show. I missed getting to talk about these athletes. We will be getting back to regular shows more often as the summer progresses. And baseball and softball have slowed down now, and most of the seasons are done. So I should have more time to get back here and check in with you guys and let you know what's going on here in the county for the YSN Ashtabula teams. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys share the feed and that sort of thing. I can tell you, I will be looking for some sponsors this year. Looking for some sponsors for the teams in the combine. Looking for some local businesses. I'd like to get each team at least one sponsor. Contact me on Facebook, Instagram, at my email, 440andgoal@gmail.com. Any of those, if you are interested or know somebody who is, I'd love to get all 7 of the teams that are going to be in the combine this year sponsored. It's going to help offset some of the cost of the combine and keep us improving. So that's the show, folks. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. My song and dance is over. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will be back soon. I'm not going to put a date on it yet because I got to see what's coming up. My name is Sam Torres. This is the 440 Sports Show, and as the song says, this is for the 440.
This for the 440. This for the 440. Hey, it's just for Beulah County. Yeah, right on your head like a bounty. Said I'm from Beulah, they know I'm from Beulah, so let me just go talk about my surroundings. Shout out them Eagles that's out in Geneva, them Lakers, oh yeah, that's Palmerton and Valley. We from the football chasing these goals. If you in the way, you get taken out proudly. And Jefferson soaring with Falcon. Said that you working, you ain't really working. You see that we working, our hands got a callus. Putting in reps till we moving some mountains. Edgewell got warriors, they won't allow it. Me, I bleed green and gold, they know defeating those dragons who run the whole city. You wildin'. And they really bout it, yeah. And next we gon' go to Grand Valley. Work like a horse and don't show no remorse. So opponents keep coming, we stack them and pile them, yeah. And Connie, I flooded with Spartans. As soon as they pull up on game day, we park them. Cause we number one in that spot, ain't a bargain. Man, shout out St. John, they be ballin' like Harden. This for the fofo. This for the fofo. This for the fofo.
YSN thanks you for watching this presentation of Your Sports Network. For stories, stats, and more, go to ysnlive.com.